Hey, welcome back to Atheist Edge. I'm Jim. I'm here with Matt Dillahunty. Time is a valuable commodity here at the Solstice Party 2018 for Metroplex Atheists. We're here in Fort Worth, Texas. I've got less than 10 minutes with them. I've got 3 fan questions to get to and 2 questions from YouTube content creators. We're going to just shotgun blast to the face and get through these as fast as we can and get you back out there to your fans.
This will be fun because I don't ever give short answers, but I will do my best.
This will be good.
Sometimes it takes 5 minutes just to get through my name.
This is a first fan question. Who was your most frustrating caller so far and why?
Yes, out of 15 years of hosting the show, I can easily pick one caller who was the most frustrating. Brilliant. There was an incredibly frustrating one a couple weeks ago that I called out for being dishonest. That one's fresh in my memory. Some of them are out there as highlight clips. There was a guy who used to call in his 3 eyes. Is it 3 eyes?
Howdy.
Hi.
I want to introduce myself first as 3 Eyes, and I'm a witch doctor. We're sitting there smoking, and I found myself standing right in front of a glowing 6-foot-tall Negro ghost. So I grabbed my .357 Magnum. Am I on?
Was his pseudonym, and we eventually stopped taking calls from him because it was getting nowhere. And he's the one who told me how to prove and how to enter the spirit realm by making a mirror, and you had to use screws and not nails, and then you would hold the mirror. You had to have a rope tied around you. You'd hold the mirror under running water like a creek, and then you could get sucked into the spirit world, which is why you had a rope and you needed a friend hanging onto it. I don't know how frustrating that was. I think there are other times where I've been more frustrated. For me, frustration comes from when there's somebody who seems to care about the truth, and we've had a discussion where I think they really should get this now, and their religion has put that roadblock up. It's just mind-numbing to spend 20 minutes with somebody and seem like you got nowhere. But I try to remind people that you, in fact, have not gotten nowhere. You've reached however many other people were listening, and that person still got a lot to think about.
I have so many questions about that spirit mirror, about testability and verifiability and falsified, but we don't have time. Here we go. Next fan question. What is your most convincing argument that you've heard thus far for theism?
I think it comes from the big question is why is there something instead of nothing? Why are things the way they are? You know, why is there anything? It's very appealing to have this idea that the universe was created with a purpose and that we were that purpose. It's arrogant, and it's an area where we don't necessarily have good answers, and that's frustrating for me because more people need to get comfortable with just saying I don't know, because at most points, that is the one and only correct answer you can give. So I don't know that I would say there's no theistic argument that's particularly compelling. But there are some that are so bad that basically the ones about origins become more convincing.
Right. Okay, last fan question. What aspects of being a prominent full-time atheist now did you not see coming? You didn't expect it? Something that's part of your life now that you're a public figure that you didn't expect when you weren't?
Everything. None of this was expected. I was just somebody who found my way out of religion, stumbled upon a group. The first time I did the show, it was an accident because Jeff D didn't show up. So I wasn't even expecting to do the show. I wasn't necessarily expecting to love doing the show, although I walked home that day and said, I'm going to be doing that show full time in no time.
Nice.
Because I loved it. I didn't expect to like it that much. I didn't expect people to like what I had to say. I certainly didn't expect to be sitting on stage in front of thousands of people. I didn't expect to kind of restructure my former magic career into something that was actually teaching and useful that people liked. There's almost nothing about being prominent to whatever extent I am. I'm still, you know, it's this tiny little pond we're in here. I didn't expect any of it. And that's the other thing, for the people who ask, how do I get into this? How do I do this? How do I get to be good at it? You just do it, and you keep doing it. It's practice. You know, you go back and watch a clip of the show from 14, 15 years ago. If I'm not better now, then I've kind of screwed up. I mean, that would be ridiculous to think you haven't improved over the course of 14 or 15 years.
That's a perfect segue. The first content creator question comes from Sirs the Skeptic, and he says, what advice would you give new atheist YouTuber up-and-comers?
Just do what you care about it. Do it for the right reasons. If you're doing it because you want to be a famous atheist, or because you want to show everybody how smart you are, or how you're right and they're wrong, or you want to bash on people with religion, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. If you actually care about making the world a better place, about understanding why people believe, about helping people understand how they may be wrong. If you're doing it for the right reasons, keep at it. You may never end up famous, but you might have a clip out on YouTube that changes more minds than, you know, the one we posted that got 700,000 or 5 million. There's enough room for a lot of voices and a lot of different methods. There's no just one right way, which is why the atheist community of Austin is now producing like 9 different shows. Several of them are call-in, because we need many voices. I would never tell anybody, do it my way, because my way's the right way. My way's one way, and it's worked out pretty well. But you don't want to be me. No, you definitely don't want to be me. So just do the right thing.
I'd like to try it, maybe for a day or two, see what it's like.
Go with your gut.
Okay, the last content creator question is from Steve McRae. Now
guy
listen,
that I've blocked on Twitter and
listen,
Facebook.
and he was adamant about me relaying this to you through me.
Okay.
That he wants you to know that he's not smug. He's just very precise in his language.
I understand.
And his question is, well, the question I'm tailoring for Steve is, what do you think of Steve McRae's analysis of atheism? One who holds a thesis and another who holds a counter or antithesis combines to form a synthesis. This means anyone with a position or even a rejection of a claim has, at least to some small extent, a burden of proof.
You don't have a burden of proof for not accepting a claim. You just don't. There's no burden of proof for I am not convinced. There is a burden of proof for I'm convinced you're wrong.
Our motto on our show is building bridges, finding common ground, and having fun. We're like the neutral ground whenever 2 atheist YouTubers have a spat, or they know we're a neutral place that they can come and we can work things out. So I'm going to just, you don't even have to answer now. I'm going to just...
I'll say yes. You're getting ready to see if me and Steve will come on and talk?
No, I just want you to unblock him.
Oh, I won't unblock him. Come on. And here, I'll explain why. This is easy. I'm happy to have, and I told Steve this and I told other people this, I'm happy to have a conversation with him. Actually, Alex Malpass was going to set up a 3-way conversation with us. I block people not because I disagree with them or I found them smug or whatever else. I have to manage the stuff that's coming at me on Twitter and Facebook because I am so obsessed about engaging on absolutely everything, and some things are futile.
So don't take it personally?
And there were things that Steve said, like for example, there was a post on his Facebook page where he talked about here are the jobs of the people who disagree with me, DJ, Walmart work, and here are the jobs of the people who agree with me. And then he says, I'm not making an appeal to authority. Bullshit. You absolutely are. If I said that, I would be considered a smug ass because, oh, look, the guy who collects my garbage disagrees with me, but the philosophy, by the way, the people who, in the positions he agreed with, none of them have any expertise in philosophy or epistemology either. It's just they're better educated. Hey, here's a bunch of PhDs who agree. Well, fine. None of that has anything to do with whether or not you're right. But when you post something like that, I immediately shut down because there's too much broken there to fix. And even in his graphic that shows
his flowchart,
it's broken at the beginning because it begins with a question when it should begin with a proposition, and then you either accept or don't accept.
It's still in the working stages though, right?
I get it, and I'd love to, you know, I'm happy to talk to him.
Do you accept his statement to you that he wants you to know that he's not smug?
He definitely is.
I think he's extending something of an olive branch at this point. I
don't need an olive branch. You're smug, I'm smug, let's be smug together. When I mentioned that he was smug, it was because there's a subset of agnostics who are constantly telling atheists that they're using the term wrong. That is smug. I don't run around telling agnostics that they're using it wrong. I recognize that there's more than one usage of the term atheism, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with more than one usage. And that's the reason we ended up with weak atheism and strong atheism. And I know that that's not particularly useful. And I know that there are lots of categories where it doesn't make sense. But by and large, you know, hey, what's faggot mean? Oh, used to mean a bundle of sticks.
Or an old person before that.
Precise in your language, it means a bundle of sticks. But now it's used as a pejorative for homosexuals. If you can't recognize that there are different usages, you're never going to be able to communicate with people effectively because you're only willing to communicate with your usage, and if they won't accept it, semantics are important because it's about what words mean, even though primarily it's about usage. But if the words are getting in the way, throw them all out. Let's make up a completely new word for whatever the concept is we're talking about, sort it out, run through it, and then figure out if there's an existing label that can apply or should apply. But as soon as you start telling people they're wrong, when you're talking about a huge subset of the secular community that uses the atheist label in this way, I don't care that you're going with a very esoteric or pedantic, special, I want to use specific language. That's fine. Other people aren't doing that. And when you tell them they're wrong to not do that, that's where you screwed up.
Can we all remain amicable at least?
As amicable as these conversations can ever be. I don't have any animus towards Steve.
That's the best we can hope for, TJ.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
All right. I'm happy with that.
We'll get back to you.
I'm going to still, yeah, okay. Last question we ask everyone that comes on our show. We have to tailor whether you're a theist or an atheist. So if there was undeniable proof shown to you without a shadow of a doubt, the God of the Old Testament exists, you find out today. There is no hesitation. How would it change your life, and what would you do differently?
So first, in order to stay consistent, I'll say that that's not possible because I don't believe that you can get
We have to hypothetical here.
If there were sufficient evidence to warrant belief in a God, I would believe in a God. Doesn't matter which one it is. Doesn't mean I would worship it. I wouldn't worship any God, and any God that wanted worship isn't deserving of it anyway. And that goes down a second thing. How would it change my life? Well, I wouldn't be arguing against the existence of God, and I would still be exposing flaws and bad arguments for God, and I would be pointing them towards this new, better argument for God. And then we'd probably be spending our time talking about, okay, now that we're all convinced that there's a God, what are we going to do about it? What does this mean for us? What does this God want? And should this God get what he wants? Should we even care that there's a God? If this God doesn't demonstrate that it's acting in our best interest or has something useful for us or whatever, then screw him. And I've said, several times on stage, the biblical God's got a lot of explaining to do. And if, I don't know, are we language restricted on this show at all?
Nope.
If God's not a humanist, fuck him.
Matt Dillahunty, you got 150 rabid fans out there that are mad at me as hell because we took up so much of your time. But food and a magic show and a gift exchange and a silent auction. So we got a lot going on. Thank you for watching, guys.
You should have been here.
Atheist Edge. Walking the edge of what some consider offensive. But your feelings don't matter here. Only facts.
I'm Harry Potter. We're in the cupboard under the stairs.
There you go.
Edgy commentary on the dangers of doctrine, the foibles of faith, the bullshit of belief, the stupidity of superstition, and the idiocy of indoctrination. With razor-sharp wit, curiosity, and critical thought, we take an unblinking look at today's religions. We are Atheist Edge.